The mental capacity that it takes to be a creative can be quite exhausting sometimes. We constantly battle with ourselves internally, whether or not the work that we do is good or the work that we do is liked or the work that we do is meaningful. Internally, we are constantly judging ourselves, to some extent, some more than others. And sometimes we just want to give up because we don't sometimes get the feedback that we hope to get. And then sometimes the images that we create are a very loud cry to what we feel internally, that if it's not being heard or being understood, it kind of hurts internally within you. You don't really realize it, but somehow it begins to shape you. Then there are times where we create just to please others, just to show others what they want to see or they want to hear. That is, if you make music. I'm speaking from a perspective of a multimedia person. I do music. I started doing music before I started taking pictures. And also from the picture perspective, and then from videography, and then as an external creative with other things that I do. Now, when you create, basically the joy and the satisfaction that comes with creating something that you yourself internally is happy with cannot be compared to the likes and the comments that we get. Yes, those get exciting, but if you're honest with yourself, you realize that it dies down pretty quick. It's just that comment that you get real quick and then you're good. You get more excited though when someone comments or leaves a like on the picture and then follows up to ask more and ask you to create more. You realize that that is much more rewarding or satisfying. Now, with that said, if you were producing or creating without the likes and the comments, have you ever asked yourself, would you still create? Would you still do the things that you do because you simply want to do it? Now, I'm talking about mental health as a creative in this sense. It's a topic that we really don't talk about quite well enough. And I feel that I just want to share my few thoughts on it. Now, as creatives, we are in a world where we seek external approval to justify the work that we do. And I think that that is not healthy for the mind. There used to be this guy, I'm not going to mention his name, that I follow, or we follow each other from Flickr days way back there. And this guy did street photography. And in a day, he would post about 20 pictures. You go onto the page on Flickr and barely any likes, but every other day he posts. Now, I am seeing this, I like street photography, and I'm enjoying it. But I'm thinking, what keeps this guy going every single time that he posts his pictures, right? I check other people's street photography and they're getting like lots and lots and lots of posts. I mean, comments and likes, and that's good, but he doesn't really care. And I realized that that is the place where he feels comfortable. That's the place where he's comfortable shooting. You don't find him shooting in the studio. You don't find him shooting, travel stuff. You just find him on the streets. That's where he spends most of his day. So as he goes back and forth to work and all that stuff, that's what he's capturing. And he took pleasure in that. And it was okay for him that his images were out there. Once in a while, you see people, buzz over one or two images, but he wouldn't even mind that. And I thought that was him creating images for him. And it was good. And it gave me some sense of understanding at that time. Now I come back here, and for me, I run a business now with my creative works that I do. And for me, my goal at the end of the day is to have my clients happy with the work that I do. So when we are done with the shooting and everything, I send them the pictures, we edit, and the back and forth is over, and then they go like, yeah, thank you very much, we like the images. That is satisfaction. Yes, the money can keep you going, that is true, but at the end of the day, do you enjoy the work that you do? So here are some few tips that I would say that we need to pay attention to in order to protect our mental health. Number one is that let us shoot what we really like. It may not give you the likes and the comments that you like, but at the end of the day, the joy that comes within after you've created the image that you really do enjoy, that is what will give you that ultimate satisfaction in the work that you do. Now, if you shoot what you like and people begin to notice, you would be able to gather the type of people that you like. You'll be able to gather the people that really like your work, and they are the ones that will book you for the work. And with that being done, you would realize that you end up shooting what you enjoy and get paid for it. This is both a business advice as well as a mental health advice. The second part is that sometimes we are so driven in the positive sense, whether you're shooting because you're going to get the likes or you're shooting because you really enjoy it. We get so driven that we don't get enough rest. And, not mental health, but diseases like, heart problems, hypertension, strokes, and, embolisms and all that stuff. Those come from stress. That's the truth. It's really stress. The more you are able to sleep, the better your body is able to regenerate itself, restructure itself, and get ready for the next day. But sometimes we'll be shooting back to back to back to back to back. Yes, sometimes the job requires it. But if you don't rest your mind, if you don't rest your body, you get burnt out. And when the body gets burnt out, this is purely biological, or let me say chemical. The body works in a certain way that at a point in time, if it doesn't get what it needs, its structure is going to change. And when that structure changes, and if it's not in a good way to your mind, it begins to affect your mental health. It's as simple as that. So we need to take our time and rest. There are days where we just need to shut off, just not shoot anything, nothing, and then just sleep. With that being said, let me mention something to the side. We are constantly worrying about the need to post on our social media every day, and it can be draining. That's true. So my advice to you in a way to solve that is to schedule your post. In my other video about AI, I talked about how you can use AI to make your posting much more easier. So you can schedule a post for about a week or even sometimes a month, whilst considering the special holidays. Maybe if Christmas is coming and your schedule included Christmas, add that type of post, shoot ahead, add that to it, and then leave that in there. You can schedule for a month and then just leave it. Another way that we can take care of our mental health is to change environment. When I say change environment, I am referring particularly to not, moving house, but sometimes take your car or call a friend, get into a car and just drive around. Ghana is very beautiful, or wherever you stay, very beautiful. Drive around and take, the scenic route and see what is out there. Get inspiration, get new ideas, relax. Don't even take your camera, just relax and just go out there and see. This would help calm your mind. It will give you a fresh perspective and look at new spots that you can, put together ideas and you can shoot. Constantly, we are looking for inspiration and ideas. So by doing this, you'll be able to relax your mind, relax your eye. Medically or biologically, when we look at things that are close, our eye, the muscles tense up and they tend to hurt the eye. That's why after a while you get, pains in your eye. But when you look at things that are far, the eye muscles relax. So doing that drive around, you're able to relax the eye, which is essential to you as a photographer or as a creative, because you're looking at things and that's what you're using your eyes to create. And even if you're not a creative as a person, your eyes are very important to you. So relax your eyes, go out, see things, get inspiration, just don't think of work. This can help reset your mind. And another thing that I'll talk about is, this is a bit scientific in a way, it's more of the dopamine reward system back and forth. This happens, there's a whole topic about that in the social media world. There's a whole topic about that in, other aspects of life. But I would advise that you do some research into how you can have that long-term dopamine reward system rather than the short-term. Let's aim for long-term reward systems. That way it can, help our minds to, readjust itself. And then one other thing that I want to talk about is dealing with negativity. Sometimes on our comments, we do get, people that are posting all these hateful, negative comments, and that can be quite bothersome, to be honest. And how do you deal with that? People can tell you it's as simple as ignoring them. One thing that you can do is you can use your social media, YouTube and all that stuff. They have these filters. You can filter out certain words. That would help save you from seeing all these comments and so on and so forth. Sometimes you can also learn from it. It depends on the type of person that you are and what you or how your worldview, let me say. Yes, I think that's the right word. Your worldview on things. So when negative things come towards you, how do you utilize them? You can choose to block them off completely. You can choose to filter them out. You can choose to take them in and then turn them around and make something positive out of it. But I think that the way that we manage our interactions on social media is very good. And then sometimes switch everything off. Really, just put everything off. From the PC to the phone to the TV and so on and so forth. Put everything off. Give yourself some time. Now, you don't want to be working 365 days in a year. Give yourself, specific times that you want to work, because there will come a day where you'll have worked out yourself and you cannot do the work that you need to do, and that will be even worse. So time yourself, schedule your shoots, plan your bookings in the best way possible that does not stress your life. Because remember, stress is bad for your mental health. But like I said earlier, the point is that we need to shoot what we enjoy. We are our own competition. So at the end of the day, if you look within you and say that I am going to be better than I was yesterday, that is much better than looking at the other person and saying I am going to be better than that other person or than that other business. Yes, it's good to try and keep up with the business. The whole point of business and having multiple companies that run the same business is to encourage, competition, is to encourage the business to grow and then to play with the dynamics of, pricing, quality. They encourage you to, improve your quality and all that. That is good. But at most times, or most of the time, think of them as a way that they are keeping the business going. But the competition at the end of the day is to see that it is with you from yesterday. That is the key thing. If you can remember that, it will save your mental health as much as possible. And sometimes you may be surprised. If you're stressed out, call that friend, because that competition, sometimes most of them are friends. Most of the people in our industry, most of them, we are friends, and we end up meeting and talking and all that stuff. And you would realize that some of the challenges and the problems that you are facing, thinking that, they were doing so good with that, they're equally struggling with that. You would never know if you don't meet up with them. So meet up, have fun, and talk, and learn to just de-stress. You can point out and see some few negative people in your industry and say, you know what, I spent time with this person, they were not healthy and I don't want to be around them. That is great. That is fine. Identify that and know how to keep your position in this game. But most importantly, just learn to compete with yourself and yourself only and nobody else. Now, let me talk about one last thing before I end this video. Let's talk about the people that we work with in terms of the clients or the vendors. Even much more specific, let me talk about models. This is not going to, most people are not going to like this thing that I'm going to talk about. But one thing that I noticed when I took my time to analyze is that sometimes we are limited by our creative process when it comes to the people that we work with. You may have an idea. You may want to shoot with somebody. And they go like, no, I don't think I really want to shoot that. And then you go to that expert, I don't want to shoot that. What you realize is that some way, somehow, they are killing your mental, creative ideas. And that is bad. That is really bad. You get to a point where that brilliant idea that you had, you don't want to shoot it anymore because you don't have anybody that is willing to do it, or anyone that shares that same creative mind. And we need to be careful about that. So the people that we choose to work with is very, very important. Pick the right people that you vibe with, pick the right people that have the same creative mindset as you, and work with such people. If you find one, work with them. There is nothing wrong with the other person saying, I don't want to shoot this, or I don't want to shoot that, or I don't get the idea that you're saying. That is fine. They have the right to say what they like and what they do not like. But I'm strictly talking about we as creatives and our mindset. Identify people that do not kill your creative mindset and work with the ones that foster, that water up your creative farm, let me say. So that the more ideas you have, the more they can flourish, the more that you can put them out there. And I think that is where the idea of a muse comes in. If you can find a muse, someone that you can bounce off your ideas and get it done, it's always a good idea. So if you find that one person that you can vibe with, it's always good for your mental health creatively. So find that person, work with them, and don't let anything stop you from doing or shooting or making what you want to make. And at the end of the day, remember, you're in competition with yourself. Rest as much as you can, take time off, drive around, and relax your mind. But what I'll tell you really is that learn to sleep. Sleep a lot. It might be ironic coming from me. People will say, oh, but do you sleep? Yes, I do sleep a lot. I like to sleep. I can sleep for 13 hours. But there are times where, at night, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., you can chat me up and I'll still be up. You'll be thinking, hey, you don't sleep. Yes, I do sleep. But I just time my sleeping in at points, where I know that, my mind is getting stressed out. So find that spot, rest as much as possible, and keep your mental health safe. This is my advice to you. This is my take on the mental health for creatives, for photographers, for music makers, any creative, and stay healthy out there. So, Livingston, I'm out. See you next time.